we're killing a little time right now actually because, as I said, it's the first day and it's the first day for the new boat. I always have black fly pods. And so today's the first float and I left my oars in the garage. And so I sent Mel, my lovely girlfriend, back to get them for us so we could sit here and talk. But it's, you know, this is not the guy you want to be. You don't want to be the guy that shows up to the boat launch without his oars, but guilty. So luckily she went back to get the oars. She'll be here any second. First day of the season for me. We're going to be talking techniques on single hooks. We're going to be fishing small flies all day. Well, I probably brought one or two other ones, but I truly brought just bare necessities, kind of old school. Because of that, I pulled out my Berkheimer back when we still had class, when they put things in bags that they sewed by hand. It was a good time back then before plastic. And you've probably seen this before, but if you didn't notice, I'm going to show you how to put a rod together properly. Most people put their rods together, they start at the butt section and they walk up to the tip of it. You put the tip on to the second piece first, and then the third piece. You align them as you go. And this way your butt section isn't in the ground. Just align it so you're never walking and getting to it. I'm going to be fishing. This I told the guys, I think this reel is older than both the guys that are filming with me today. And so it's been around forever. It's a really, really old Sage reel. We probably fish 95% of the time with a sinking line. But in the spring in particular, and when I'm walk fishing, I pretty much exclusively fish a floater. When I'm walk fishing on foot, on the Madison in particular, just because you're not going to get out in this river very far, so they're pretty short casts, as you'll see when we go through it. And so I'm going to show you as many single hook kind of setups as that I use, or, you know, frequently. There's probably more, but I'm going to go through as many as I can, show you how we set up for them. We're going to fish from the boat. We're going to get out, do some wading too. It's going to be a blast. And so I'm going to rig up this. I'm fishing 6 weights. Both of these are 6 weights. This is Berkheimer 6, the streamer rod. Again, this is kind of true to weight. This line that I've got on it is a half line over. On my Streamer X, I've got the new Titan, Scientific Anglers Titan line, which is a 2 over. And so the idea that the head being heavier than a normal weight is that we'll be able to throw single hook flies very simply. And Braden's going to show you a little double haul thing later. You're going to have to do a casting thing. We're going to take about 6 miles of river. We're going to go shorelines. We're going to fish start. I'm going to show you how I jig from the boat, how I double rig it, and we're going to do a lot of skitter stuff with the small bait fish and just see what happens. We got a high cloud mix, 50 degrees today. It's the river's greeny because we're starting of runoff. We should have a pretty, I wish it would start doing one or the other, either get cloudy or get full sun. I don't like when it mixes on us, but we'll see how it goes. And like I said, if anybody's ever seen any of my videos, you know that usually in this boat, I've designed this boat for Clackacraft, and I designed these storage pods, and I usually have 20 of these boxes in the boat with me. And these are swing leafs, and so there's plenty of flies in them. I brought this box today, and I brought this. This is my fly box for the day. I'm going to fish a cougar, I'm going to fish a woolly sculpin, I'm going to fish these micros, these snack bites, these are the micro dungeons. They're articulated, but they're still smaller than a regular. And you can see this fly's just as big, and it's a single hook. It's actually a little bigger. But I even brought a Royal Coachman. I haven't fished one of those, and I mean, back 40 years ago, that was a staple, right? But I'm gonna work off of this. That's as naked as you'll ever see me with the fly box. I'm gonna build a leader out there, and I'm gonna run twist-ons, which is just a lead. It looks like an old match, like a paper match. I'm gonna run a Carolina rig. For those of you that know what gear fishing is, I'm gonna run a Carolina rig. That means I'm gonna have a swivel above my fly with a weight above it. And then And we're going to talk about the swivels too, because there's a little confusion with that, whether they're good or bad. I'm going to show you what I do with beads. This is just my streamer box. I always keep these beads with me. And they're 3/16 generally tungsten beads, 4 colors. I'll have a cone head or 2 in there. And then I'm going to start with just a regular 9-foot leader. I grabbed this is a floral. This thing's been in my box forever. It's from my lake box. I'm going to have a 9-foot floral start with, and then I'm going to rig, because I almost always build my own. I have a very simple 4-piece leader. It doesn't need to be complicated because we're running the heavier flies on it. And I'll usually have a bead or a little cone. And so we'll go over that today too. But again, I'm going to try to fill this with as much weight angling, basic streamer like we would have done 20 years ago. And it's still, I mean, it's amazing to me that a lot of these flies are going away. They should never go away. Zoo cougar, a woolly sculpin, you know, a JJ, a woolly bugger, stuff like that. They have caught so many fish, and you need to have more than just a giant articulated fly with you. And I want to show you the ways to fish them. So hopefully it's a really good fishy day. If it's not, we'll fill it full of a lot of good information. Let's get out of here. Introducing my crew today. This is my beautiful girlfriend, Mel. She's going to be my guide. In other words, I'm going to get rowed by Mel today. I'll leave that to you. And then we're going to have the crew behind us. You've met Braden before. Kyler's going to be running the B boat. He's behind him with a sandwich in his hand. We'll see him later. But we're going to run this thing solo down here for probably 6 miles and see how we do. Just got kind of yellowy and feels more like a tanny bite to me. Yeah, this bank is super. Oh, right in the head.
Baby.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Braden? My head getting hit with that cone head. Oh.
Got?
Just like that, mister.
You got a fish?
Yes, that's a fish.
You got a fish.
What a
Wow.
surprise. Where's that net? Thank you. Oh, don't do that. I'm out of control.
Beautiful.
So I kept looking. It's on a tan woolly sculpin conehead. I kept looking up and seeing it getting bright. There's the beauty of a barbless hook. It was getting that yellow light. I like to go to yellow whenever it's, or not yellow, but tan whenever you got yellow light. Come here, little buddy. Come to see me. Whoa, 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 whoa. He's pretty fresh.
Wow, that is yellow on that belly.
One of my standing rules, one of the very few I have about color, is in the afternoon if you get yellow light, and I kept picking my glasses up when that cloud cover went away, we got that yellow light on the bank and it lights up everything, it makes it look yellow. I go to tan no matter what. So that was maybe 5 casts with tan and boom, just like that. I was pegging that, or not pegging it, but I had a bead on it, and I wanted to go quick, so I just brought, again, this fly, it's a woolly sculpin, it's just a woolly bugger with a hair head. This fly is 30 years old as it stands. It's just a spectacular fly, but it's not articulated, it's not fancy. I had a black one on up there, got a couple on it, and then it lightened up, so I went to tan. And you could see I wasn't doing anything fancy. I was just throwing it out, just jigging it, kind of making it come through there. That thing came up and ate it almost like a dry fly. Just rolled over like that. And I just pulled into him. He didn't make an aggressive eat at all. So, and I'll fish this cream color, tan or cream, until I stop losing this yellow light. It usually lasts And I don't care how good the bite is. If I'm having a phenomenal day on black or white or whatever, and we get that yellow light, I immediately switch to the tan colored bugs. 4 or 5 of my biggest fish in history have done, it's been during that, and it's always happened just like that. It's happened, switch it over and boom, you get that fish. And so it's kind of a hard rule for me to watch. I kept picking my glasses up to look out to see if it was yellowing up. And I could see that grass over there seemed to be yellower with that sunlight. And so I'll ride this color until it goes away. As soon as that yellow light fades on me and it gets darker, I don't do as well. I'll switch right back to kind of going through the rotation. So, but it worked right there, kind of on cue. So, could be my superior oarsman too.
I did notice that your blonde highlights also were a little bit brighter with the sun.
They look better?
Yes.
It's hard to do, isn't it?
You picked the right fly for that. This is right about where you stopped me once and held the boat for me for 20 minutes while I just caught fish.
I wouldn't do that.
That was when you were romancing me.
Yes, baby. I thought I was still romancing you.
You are still romancing me. Ow.
I have to. Oh, good. Oh, that was a good fish.
Oh no!
Are you kidding me? Did you see that thing? That was a mid-20s right there, brother. Ah. Did you get that jump? Whoa, that was a big fish. It was a 2-footer above. It's the biggest one I've seen down here in a long time. Oh, damn it. That'll leave a mark in my brain. Don't see 2 of those a day very often. That was a huge fish. Whoa, that would have made a show. I even burned my finger on the hook set. I don't usually get too shook up over fish like that. Hoofda. I'm actually a little bit quivery. I had a really good set on it, I thought. I slipped a little line though, it burnt my finger.
Aww.
Oh, and it straightened my hook out too. I never checked that.
Oops.
Maybe I put a little bit too much heat on it. That fish ate on a stall too. I hope that's on film because that was a stall and it did a push eat. I saw it roll and felt nothing. This is just a standard 2X leader and 16 inches above the fly. I cut it, put a nail knot, or a blood knot and I've got a twist on, which I showed earlier. And I'm just gonna throw this out and I'm hoping for the fly to flutter. And I'm gonna fish really shallow water for the most, well, as shallow as we can today. And it's supposed to be like just a fleeing sculpin is all it is. This is a butt sump. It's tiny when it's wet. It's not much of a fly. It's a single hook. And so I'm gonna try to get things to flutter around. Sculpin do not have advanced swim bladders. They don't have the ability to go up and down real well. And so if they do get dislodged, they take a second to get back to where they belong, right? And so I'm gonna run this and I'm gonna let the lead go down if I've got 3/4 of a turn of twist on. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna put a little bit more on. And if that doesn't get exactly where I want it to, what I normally would do is come up here 16 inches and cut it again and tie a knot and put one above it. And that gets this below and then the fly's above it. And that's all I'm trying to do is just get this fly to get caught in the currents, because if you watch a sculpin, we fish them darty, but generally speaking, if a sculpin is off the bottom, he's kind of at the mercy of he doesn't just get to go back where he belongs. He kind of gets thrown all over the place until he gets down, and then he stays right on bottom. I'm gonna put on, I want to show you how I do this because I do it a lot with the pegging. I've done this forever. I carry a box of 3/16. You can go bigger. I seldom go smaller than that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this 3/16 tungsten bead, I'm gonna peg it right down, not peg it, but I'm going to connect it right at the bottom to get this thing to go up and down. And so, and you can see, usually I've got them in my bag. I just ran out. Usually I've got copper, black, and silver, and gold. And so I'm just going to throw this 3/16 tungsten bead up on this leader. And I'm going to show you how to keep it from moving around. So first run the, if this one's slotted, I don't usually use the slotted ones, just run it up with the, either, it doesn't really matter which way it goes. Now we're going to do a non-slip loop. So we're going to, and this is 2X. Give me you. This is 2X. We're going to come in here just like you would always do it. You've got your knot, come from the back side so it goes parallel with the line where the knot, excuse me, turns, where it comes off the inside. Make sure your line comes that way. I don't know if it really matters. But then we're going to tighten this down. And you're going to tighten it down so about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch above it. And then you just go above it and do 2 half hitches. Some people do 3. I've never had one break on 2. Slide it down so you know you're about there. And then I'm going to cut this loop and I'm going to leave it out 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. When I slide this down, that's above it. They don't go sliding up and down your leader when you do this. Usually when I do that, I'm running 12 pound. And so, but with that little tag sticking out the edge, it goes nowhere. Can I have those Hemos, babe? And doesn't go anywhere. And so you're not having it slide up and down your leader. And I pretty much am barbless everywhere I go. I don't, partly for the fish, and partly when you throw really big flies, when you hook yourself, it's a lot easier to get them out of you. So there's the bead. You can see it was a non-slip mono loop. And then just leave that out to the side and it'll just stay there. And we'll get this really great, you can watch it right there at the feet. I just dropped it. It's still not wet, but you can see how it dives so easily. Just enough to get it to flutter in and out of the rock piles. And I don't have to have the cone head. If I wanted to fish it on a sinking line, cone heads are great if you want them to do that. If you want them to hover and you want them to go like this, the cone head kind of doesn't help you. So I keep the 3/16 beads. I also do that if I'm going to water that's really fast. If I'm going to water like this, and I might have a fly that's never intended to have a cone on it or any kind of weight, like a whatever minnow imitation, and I want it to break through the water surface. A lot of times it's not the sink, it's the fact that this isn't fast enough, but if you get in water that's really riley and it's just going like that, right? It's hard to get through that water. Some places down on the South Fork, for example, it's got this big lift and a fly just won't get through it. And I just take one of these and it breaks it, I hit it down hard, and it breaks that surface tension, and I get down where it belongs. So it's just a simple, really simple trick to get you fishing just a little bit deeper and a little bit faster down, breaking the surface.
That Rockwell's getting close.
Come on, Johnny. Go, Johnny. Go, Johnny. You know Daisy. You know Daisy at all. Yeah. Johnny wishes he could have done that.
Oh, please.
Did I mention that my girlfriend's the best rower in Montana and owns one of the biggest gun stores? Shedhorn.com.
These guns rode you across that river.
That's right. On these rock walls like this, you want to be pretty close to these things so you can hit the backside, the soft. You won't find fish on a pushy wall like this in front very often. They won't ride that cushion. It's just too much. So they sit right behind, foot behind the rock, just getting a break. Get good ambush zones there. And it's really short casts. You're not You're not gonna, you're worrying about the bank. You're not worrying about 20 feet off of it. You're just worrying about the holding spots close to the bank. The water's up just, it's a little pushy everywhere. I had Mel rip me across the river because it looked kind of juicy, but it's a little pushy. I like flies in rock walls and broken water like this. I like it anywhere, but I like them to hit the water hard. The more commotion you can make, the better chance they've got of feeling that fly hit. And they have to make really split-second decisions in this stuff. So if they feel it and it hits down hard, you've got a better chance than if it was like really soft laid out there. And I've got that 3/16 tungsten bead on here. It hits a little bit hard. I don't care how hard it hits the water, the better. The harder the better. It's just give them something to chase. Just constantly looking for the breaks. This is any soft, any inside like that, any little feller. I had two in there eat it, but they just really lazy, come up and kind of like bite it, but didn't. They're both little fish, but 13, 14 inchers.
Nice.
Oh, jacked it. You got a couple giant rocks below you. Might be foul hooked. I don't think it's big. I think he's kind of snagged in the side. He's just getting a good pull out of the water.
Oh, hooked on the side.
He ate that black woolly sculpin. Pegged. That was the fourth fish that ate it. He got a little bit behind his mouth. Looked like a big one.
Hey guys, I'm the camera guy, Braden. We just had a great day out on the water with Kelly. Mel and Kyler were rowing the boats. They did a great job, moved some big fish. Kelly lost a giant. But I just wanted to give you a little quick casting tip that one of our guides, Hunter, came up with that I think really helps when your cast breaks down. Even the best casters out there, if they're fishing a bunch of days in a row, their cast is gonna inevitably break down at stretches. I like this tip for how to get your cast back. And a lot of the time when it breaks down, it's because you're trying to throw it too hard or you're going too fast. And you're trying to throw it more like a football or baseball instead of bending your fly rod and using the rod's power to accelerate the line. So the tip is essentially cast in slow motion. So if you can slow down and pretend like you're casting in slow motion, you can catch the trees behind you. But you might be able to bend your rod a little bit better and throw that streamer out farther, your dry fly or whatever, make a successful cast. If you use that little tip and just cast in slow motion, slow everything down, generally you can find it again and get back in your rhythm.
Put on a JJ. It's not exactly the color I'd usually think about it, but I wanted to start. I was going to jig. I was going to start pegging or beading a crayfish style fly, a Nancy or a one of the mini craws. But generally in this color water, I'm not as confident with this color scheme, but who knows? It's one of the greatest. It's a conehead JJ, yellow rubber legs, brown and tan body, and greeny water. I just don't have confidence like I normally do in other water with it, but had a cone head on it, so it's, it'll get down easy. Just see, I'm not going to fish it very long. I'm going to give it this skinny water up here. And I think we don't have crayfish down here, but I do really well with a Nancy P crayfish in this water. So it's a small one. It's a size 6. I brought it with me. It's the only articulated fly I brought today, but it's pretty small. I'm gonna peg it just like I did before with that black woolly sculpin. I'm gonna put a bead down to it and jig it around. Or I'm gonna put on an olive mini craw, one or the other, and just start lifting it. We're gonna fish it differently. But right now I just wanted to see if we can get anything come out of these flats other than a stick.
It's a nice stick.
Was a nice stick. And it was very polite. JJ eater.
Hello.
Hello.
Woo!
Rainbow.
Pretty rainbow.
He's a fatty. He hasn't missed many. Oh, give me you. Whoa, he's fat. Oh, baby. JJ. This is the one that I said I didn't have much confidence in, and about 2 minutes later, I popped a nice fat rainbow on it. Yellow tail, brown top, yellow legs. I do really well with this fly in tannic water. I don't generally do well with green water, but as soon as I said that, I got one. So it's never fails. There's a great story behind the JJ. Jimmy Jones did that thing. He and Brooks and a whole bunch of other buddies of mine. Rumor has it they were a little bit inebriated when they tied it and didn't remember tying it until the next day. And they used all the scraps on the table. All I know is it saved my bacon many times. It's another fly this is a great starter for people. You really can't fish it wrong. It's a woolly bugger with rubber legs, kind of crazy colors. And you can see I'm not doing much to this. I'm just picking it up and I'm just trying to make it go up and down like this. I'm not trying to do anything fancy with it. I don't stall this fly, just throw it out, pull it back in. It's another one if you like to strip flies with your hand like this is a great fly for it. It doesn't need much animation, just like a woolly bugger. It doesn't need much. You just throw it out, pull it back. There's no real science to it. Well, we just came off the water for about a 6-hour float. It was absolutely a blast. We decided today was going to be as much information as we possibly could on basic streamer fishing, not advanced articulated sinking lines and all that. We kind of took it old school and just went back single hook, regular fly line, dry fly lines, 9-foot 6 weights. We weren't really doing anything. Basically what we wanted to show you is just how easy it is to fish streamers. It doesn't have to be complicated. We didn't fish the biggest fly we fished all day was a number 4 woolly sculpin. We started out, we wanted to show 3 or 4 different rigs, and we started with a double rig, which was just 16 inches apart with the dropper loop. I do that a lot in the spring, where I'm using 2 flies. Neither of my flies were over an inch. We caught a good number of fish, and then we went to how to throw with just a little twist on, 16 inches above any fly you want. And we're only trying to get about this deep, and showed you kind of how to just, you don't have to do much. You can strip it, you can jig it a little bit, you can do whatever. Then we went to, what did we do next? Then how to put a bead on a loop. So you're just taking a regular fly, putting a bead above it. And the last one we did was what was the last one? Oh yeah, we Carolina rigged with a swivel and put it's called a bullet weight. It's from General Tackle. We slid that down. We had every single system caught fish. Kelly lost the biggest fish he's seen in the upper river in a long time. I straightened the hook out. I can't believe that a hook could straighten out. I think I only had 8-pound test on, but that was still a blast. I hope we get to see it. We're not sure yet. But anyway, we're hoping for just adding a whole bunch of information. Like I said earlier, the more information you have, whether you use it, don't, it's all just a compilation of everything you get, where you'll end up, the more you know, the more ways you get to just change it up, more interesting it'll be. Nothing ever works all the time, so I'm just hoping that you get a little bit out of it. Hope it helped you out, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was a beautiful day out there. And I had a beautiful oarsman taking me down the river, my girlfriend Mel, who happens to own one of the best gun shops, sporting shops in Montana, Shedhorn.com. If you see it, like it, friend us, or all the other things I'm supposed to say that I always forget. Thanks again.